Hey guys, welcome back to Funny with Jessie, the life coach. So today is all about stimulus checks and how to spend it. I'm going to be sharing some tips on what you can do with your stimulus checks, probably some tips that people haven't even thought about. So we want to make sure that you're getting the most for your money and make sure you are staying stable and bringing in more stability, right? That's what our channel is all about. It's about gaining perspective, gaining stability, and creating order within your life. So if we learned anything from this pandemic is to make sure we are prepared for anything, right? So my first tip is to make sure you have an emergency fund, because you never know when something like this can happen again, right? And it doesn't have to be, at this caliber. You can easily lose your job at any time and it will shake your foundation and shake your security. So if you have not created an emergency fund, that $1,200 that you are receiving is a great start to start building that foundation towards one. So emergency funds, they could be used at any time, and it's basically an emergency fund when emergencies hit and you're not prepared. So you can use an emergency fund for repairs that need to go on in the house, car repairs, a loss of a job, loss of employment, any type of emergency you might have, a death of the family, things of that sort, right? So you want to make sure you have a good stable emergency fund. So a good rule of thumb that I like to follow with emergency fund is save up 6 months of expenses. So your normal expenses, you want to make sure you have at least 6 months of that. So let's say you pay mortgage and rent and it's about $1,200. That's usually our biggest expense, our biggest household expense. And if you actually times that by 6, it will be about $7,200, right? So right there, that's actually the base of where you want to start. So whatever your mortgage or your rent is, you want to make sure you take that, double it by at least 6. And that's the basis of where you want to start, right? And that's just for mortgage and rent. We still have gas, we still have light, we still have, if you have a car, if you have a vehicle, you want to make sure you have enough for 6 months of car note, car insurance, gas, easy pass, right? All those necessities. And then food, right? Especially if you have a family, a family of 4 for a month is probably around $400, around, roughly, give or take. And if you're out of work for like 6 months or more, that's going to be a hefty bill. So you want to make sure you have an adequate amount saved up in your emergency fund. So if you're one of the people who were definitely impacted by this pandemic, like you lost your job and you were waiting for unemployment, and money was running low, you want to make sure that what we do is we learn from it's not our mistakes, but we learn from situations, right? So you want to make sure that you're learning all you can from this situation and making sure that you are prepared. So whatever you went through this time around, especially if it impacted your money and impacted your emergency fund, either you're building that back up or you're creating one if you didn't have one, so you're not in the predicament that you were this time around in this emergency, right? It doesn't make a difference how stable you think your job is. We have learned no matter how stable you think something is, it could be taken from you at any time, right? So make sure you are preparing yourself for the worst. The good rule of thumb to be a good leader, especially the leader of a leader in your own household, is to always wish for the best, but prepare for the worst. That's the way it should be, right? So that's my first tip. Tip 2 is to start paying off your debt. A good way to use your stimulus check is to put your $1,200 towards paying off your debt. Why you want to do that? Well, we don't want to be in debt, number one, right? So if you have credit card debt, maybe like a car payment, things like that, you want to start, trying to slim that down, right? Number one, it just gives you more financial freedom. Number 2, if you ever have an emergency like this again or something similar to it, like you lose your job and things like that, you want to make sure that you're keeping your expenses as low as you possibly can, right? Because we have to pay bills every month. So if you have a credit card that is sky high and, you lose your job, you have to put, a couple of hundred towards that credit card. That's money that you could really be saving. So if you haven't done so, think about paying off some debt, trying to knock it out so you can try to minimize as much debt as you have. My third tip is to put that stimulus check towards anything that could bring in more opportunity, right? So what does that mean? So let's say you don't actually own a vehicle and you've been thinking of saving up for a car, right? Definitely put that money towards that. Why? Because that vehicle could possibly open up doors and opportunities that you probably didn't have access to before because transportation was an issue for you, right? When you have a car and you're looking for a job or you're looking for a better paying job, it makes it easier. It makes it easier to go to interviews. It makes it easier to apply to jobs that are not within your county or not within, your direct borough, things of that sort, right? When you have a car, it just opens so many more opportunities, right? And that could bring in more money. Courses, programs, schooling, right? Anything like that can help you bring in better opportunities, better paying jobs, and just open different doors for you. The more knowledge we have towards anything actually helps us. It helps us at the base level. So if there's courses or programs, or maybe you've been thinking about going back to school, that's a great way to invest your money. Invest it in something that's going to bring you more opportunity, right? And these days you could take courses and programs, certificate courses and things like that directly from home, right? You don't have to go anywhere. So that's a good way to invest your money towards courses, towards programs that can help you with your development. Tip 4 is if you own a house and you've been needing any repairs, or you can put that money back into appliances that can help you save money and cut costs. That's a good avenue to go down, right? Think about it. If you have like old washing machines that are just like sucking up your water bill or sucking up your electric bill, things like that, and you upgrade to a different washer and dryer, it might be saving you hundreds and hundreds of dollars over the course of a year on your water bill and things of that, of that sort. You could actually invest the money into something that not only is going to save you hundreds and thousands of dollars over the course of the year or years that you stay in that home. Also, when you go to sell that home, you're also updated, right? You're able to compete with the newer homes in your area or category, and so that's always a plus for you, right? The more up to date your home is, and the more repairs you have done to it, always brings in more equity for you. So that's something also to consider if you are a homeowner. So my 5th tip is to invest your money, and you can invest your money in so many different ways, right? Stocks and bonds, 401ks, life insurance. There's different avenues that you can go into, but it's a good time to start looking into that, right? Especially if you've never done it. Stocks and bonds, because our economy is, just right, up and down, is not really stable at the moment. You could invest and get everything pretty low, and you could try your hand at it. You could just put a little bit into it. I wouldn't put too much into it, but you could research and do the legwork and find out a little bit more about investments. And life insurance is always a good route to go. I think during this pandemic, a lot of people, especially parents, were very, very, very worried about their current security, their current foundation, what they will be, if they were to get ill and become sick, like what they were leaving behind for their kids and things of that sort, or how they will pay for certain costs associated with that sickness. So life insurance is always a good thing to look into. And a lot of people, when they're young, they don't really take these things seriously. They just think they're invincible. Like, I'm good, nothing's gonna happen to me, I'm pretty young, I don't have to worry about that, to like I'm way older, or to when I settle down and have a family. But it's always smart to invest in it early. It's always smart to invest in it when you're young. So if you don't have life insurance or 401k, it's a good time to look into that. If we're learning anything about pandemics and viruses and sicknesses and illnesses, is that it knows no age, right? You can get sick tomorrow even if you're completely and totally healthy. Life can impact you in different ways, and you always want to make sure that you are prepared. Life insurance covers so many things. It covers funeral costs. It covers your family. It's something to really consider if you were one of those people that felt on very shaky ground during this pandemic, and you felt like you didn't have your things in order. Those are things to consider. 401k is always an investment for when you retire, but is depending on what type of 401k you invest your money into, you can draw funds early. Sometimes they have a penalty, sometimes they don't. So you really have to look into these things when you're investing it and seeing what works for you in your situation. Sometimes with 401k and life insurance, you can withdraw money for it for first-time home buyers. You can withdraw money for it for school expenses, like if you're sending a child to school, things of that sort. So definitely look into it. There's more to it than just meets the eye. And you can also draw from money from 401k if you're in a really, really bad financial situation and you have no money coming in and you need to withdraw money from that. You can borrow from it and things like that. Something that you want to consider. It's like I said, it can help you when you are in a financial crisis and you don't have nowhere to turn, or you don't want to rely on anyone else but yourself, right? So it really helps you kind of feel very stable and grounded to know that if you needed to, there was actually funds available. My next tip is for those who actually have a lot of their stuff already in order and they're like, I need to invest in me, right? So this is more of a tip to invest in you. And I would say if you haven't taken a vacation in a while, or you have been drained through this year or years prior and you're ready for that all-out vacation, definitely take your money and invest it in a vacation. And what's great about investing it in a vacation is that you don't have to invest in this year. I think this year is really shaky. We don't know what's going to be happening. We don't know when travel is going to be safe and all, that stuff. That's going to take some time to work out, but you can always invest for the next year or the year after, right? And it's a great way of not putting all your stimulus money directly into a vacation, but putting of the stimulus check or just using, a little bit of money just to put a down payment on it, right? So I've said before on my channel, I love to travel. It's one of my passions in life, and I traveled a good amount of places. And for me, it's always a spiritual experience. I always say anything that rejuvenates your soul and puts you at ease is a spiritual experience. So for me, it's been that. It also has been a humbling experience. It's a good educator to go, to different places around the world and meet different people and learn about their culture and learn about them and learn about their struggles. And, it makes these people more human. You get to see how we're not so different after all, right? We all have the same struggles. It really humbles you and it really enlightens you. So I think, vacationing and traveling, it could be a very enlightening experience if you allow it to be, if you have that perspective, right? Vacationing is not all about just going on vacation and getting drunk and, getting hammered and having fun. Yeah, you could do that too, right? You could do that too. But it also, it enlightens you to, just the world and other places around the world and other people and how they live their life. So it's a beautiful experience, especially if you never traveled. Guys, take at least a little bit of that money to put it aside towards a vacation, and you can just pay it little by little. And so for those who don't know, I actually put together trips, and I'm putting a trip next year together for my girls. I do big trips every year. And we are going to Turks and Caicos. So it's going to be an all girls trip, all inclusive. Everything's going to be paid for, all transportation, all transfers, all taxes, everything. It's going to be all inclusive, all food, all drinks, premium drinks. It's going to be a trip that you don't want to miss. So if you're interested, I'm going to have the link below in the description box. It's going to be on my Traveling Butterflies website. And if you want more information, you can always hit me up and I actually send you the information directly if you have more questions about it. But everybody's welcome. All my girls or people who directly don't know me, but they've been watching me. It's going to be open to everybody, but just be mindful that space is limited. So that's one thing to consider. There is a deposit that you need to give. It's $96 when you first sign up for it. Second deposit due. And then after that, you have the whole year and a half to pay off the trip because it's not until September of 2021. So if you definitely want to travel, haven't been traveling or been looking for a group to travel with, this might be an opportunity for you. So you definitely want to check that out. For sure, I would say if you have the money or a portion of the money and you're looking to travel more, definitely make an investment into yourself and getting yourself back into alignment and just starting to see the world, because it is a beautiful experience. Next tip is anything that brings in personal development. Invest your money into anything that brings in personal development for you. Personal development, personal growth. And that could be anything. Let's say you're realizing, on this time that you're not eating well, right? You can start, investing in a nutritionist. You can start investing in literature and books of how to eat better. If you're realizing, I need to work out more and I've been trying to do that, or I've been wanting to do it, it's a goal and I haven't been doing it. Maybe you can invest a small portion of your stimulus check into maybe a gym membership. Maybe you're realizing I want to get more in alignment with meditating and things like that. You can invest in yoga or possibly coaching. One thing that I do offer is business coaching. So you're thinking of starting a business or you have an idea, but you're not sure how to get it off the ground. I do offer business coaching for those types of individuals. And I show people how to, apply for a business license, what type of business license to apply to, how to create, a marketing plan, how to create a business plan, how to create a logo, how to create business cards, right? And I put you in contact with individuals who actually specialize in these categories. So if that's something you've been thinking about this crisis, like how can I bring in more money for myself, or I have an idea and I want to bring in more money for myself, right? So that's, one avenue to go down towards. Or if you've been realizing that you are off alignment and you're looking for more grounding and more stability, and you're not sure how to achieve that for yourself, you can look into coaching and services with me. Like I said, you're interested in my services, you can hit me up and we can speak about it. All consultations are free. But you definitely want to make sure that you're looking into personal development. I think this time is so important, and I think that was a big lesson with what's going on here. Evaluating how we want to move forward and be evaluating our own lives and seeing where we are, out of an alignment, and how we can bring more stability back into our lives and go towards the things that we want. Right? Go towards our goals, go towards, fixing what's not working in our lives some way or another. And so definitely look into personal development. I think it's a good investment. Any time that you invest money into yourself, or creating the life you want, or becoming a person that you want, or establishing a business or a goal, or anything that's going to bring you stability and peace, it's always worth the money, right? So really consider that, because a lot of people don't consider that. They don't even consider their personal development. We're just like on autopilot, just going, and we never stop to do a self-analysis. And now is a good time to start doing that. So definitely invest your money into anything that's going to bring you stability within your emotions, right? And just bring you some grounding. And that is actually my last tip. My last tip is to invest in anything that brings your mind, body, and soul into ease. So that could be anything from products to, investing in yourself, to anything that makes you feel grounded in your home, right? To anything that makes you feel whole as a person. But you just want to make sure you're not spending frivolous. That's the only thing I would suggest. Be careful of spending too much money when your emotions are heightened or you feel unstable, right? It's okay to invest in things that's going to bring in a little bit of peace and make you feel stable, but you don't want to start going towards an avenue that you're investing in outside things, and that is actually becoming a defense mechanism for you. You don't want to create a relationship that every time you feel unstable or things are out of your control, that you gravitate and jump to spending money, right? So you want to be careful of that. It's okay, I think, to spend a little bit of money grounding yourself, right? And making yourself feel at ease and at peace, if that. Make sure that you're not going overboard, right? I can't stress that enough, because you don't want to create that relationship. So guys, those are my tips for how to spend your stimulus money. All of these categories that I mentioned, they bring instability one way or another. And that's what you want to make sure you're doing. You want to make sure you're taking that check and bringing in stability, something that is grounding you, something that is bringing in more stability, or something that is bringing more opportunity or money, right, towards you. And I wish you nothing but love and light. Please stay grounded, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.